pressure. I'm going to wrap this arm about this way. I don't want to come straight back. Ain't no room for going outside. Stretch that leg. Then I'm going to other foot here.
I got a good view from here. Probably not so safe for me. Guess one. There you go. Never get out of there. Lamont, finish it. Don't stay flat. Don't stay flat. Off the work. Good work there. Got a little still. There you go. There you go. And I'll be recognized and get out of danger.
Introduce yourself and your credentials.
Jamal. I am Jamal Goro Thorne. I'm second degree black belt in Taekwondo. Teacher here at Round 3 Fitness, Goro's Taekwondo. I've been teaching since 2003. Been a black belt since 2003, so a little bit of time in the game, a lot of time working with children, so my specialty.
Okay. Well, I wanted to interview you because one, you are the Taekwondo instructor here, and you're also a competitive combat sports athlete, a pro MMA fighter.
Right.
I wanted to know your thoughts on children competing and what gear should be used, etc. Because in countries like Thailand, they start fighting a lot younger and they wear a lot less gear a lot of times than we wear over here. Do you think that is putting children in harm, or do you think that's preparing them for more realistic situations?
I love this question. You know, over here in the U.S., you know, like a lot of places in the world with this higher education, more advanced technology, we look at things and say, okay, what would inhibit a child's growth? What may be detrimental to a child safety-wise? And we come up with these different safety apparatuses, gear, protective equipment, and get them going. I believe in Thailand, a reason they don't need the gear, they're being trained properly. Not saying necessarily that we're not being trained properly in the US, because that's not what I'm saying. Overall, the training is watered down and it varies a lot from place to place. So just to cap off in the States, make sure everybody's safe house-wide, we'll issue gear out. Me personally, I'm not really big on gear. You know, in my Taekwondo class, the only thing I don't even want to say require, but I'll ask my students to wear is gear covering the feet for one child. You know, with one-on-one, I'll wear it, he doesn't have to wear it, just to keep that hard bone-on-bone from coming. Because we throw a high percentage of kicks, a lot of kicks, high volume. And a lot of the students it's early in the training, so they're not very skillful yet, and we'll get a lot of bone-on-bone collisions going on. So that's why I'll do the shin gear. Other than that, I really do believe that if a competitor of any age, especially a child, you'll be surprised how receptive they are to new information. But a competitor of any age, once trained properly, we don't need to stress the issue of the protective equipment as much, I believe.
Okay, that makes sense. Now my second question, and we'll end out on this, is it's a multi-part question. At what age do you think they should start competing, and should children's competitions be limited to sports competitions, or as in Thailand, they're actually fighting?
Um, I think, with different economical reasons, people want to fight a little earlier in life, and in some cultures, the child is going to want to get out there and start making a living as soon as possible. Over here, I would say there's not so much of a push to make a living out of it, but at the same time, I feel like a child can start at any age. A lot of people will say 5. I even said 5 for a little bit until I found a 4-year-old that was receptive enough to work. I find a 3-year-old that is receptive enough to do the work. So it's all about the child. If that child can follow directions, that child can get going, get them competing as soon as possible. They'll start to learning how to lose. Losing is a learned skill, just like winning, just like anything else. Learn how to take criticism. Learning to take the good with the bad. I love competing for my children because it helped with my parenting. Now, it wasn't really a shortcut because I'm doing the parenting as well as the Taekwondo teaching. But I believe for a lot of people, it is a bit of a shortcut with the parenting. It teaches your child how to take a loss. How to respond when things do not go their way. That's really the biggest takeaway from competition that I like for the children at that age, at a young age.
Oh, well, thank you for your answers. Glad to hear your opinion.
Thank you for your time.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Andrew Frazier. I'm a senior student of Jamal, Goro, Thorne. Currently ranking at blue belt. Looking to go to brown belt soon.
Okay, that's good. Coming up. What age did you start?
I actually started at I think 25.
25. Okay, so you started your martial arts as an adult. What are your feelings, because you're in the adult class, but you train with some of the older kids. How do you feel about them competing? And of course, you use less gear than they do a lot of the times, but what's your thoughts on them competing, and what gear should be used compared to how we do it over here compared to countries like Thailand?
I think it depends on the kid. I think it depends on their maturity, their pain threshold, and their skill.
Makes sense. So an age thing, do you think there should be an age limit to competing?
I don't think so. As long as the kid can do it, like Jamal said, if you gotta learn how to lose. You gotta learn how to lose some. You gotta learn how to win some. It's all part of growing up,
Yeah. Now, as far as gloves, a lot of times you use 4-ounce gloves because it's closer to using like your fist. Do you think it's a hindrance when they use larger gloves than get in a self-defense situation to where they're not used to how an actual punch feels?
I think it can be. I think it really can be, because it's all about technique. It's not about just throwing your fist. You're putting all the weight of your body into 1 inch of your fist. It's right here. When people get used to using the big gloves, they just start throwing wild haymakers and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've been in that situation where training with 16-ounce gloves, and then the first time I punched with 4-ounce gloves, it was totally different. I learned that you might not necessarily want to hit as hard. Do you think that they should be fighting at like Jamal does and some of the other guys at the gyms, or do you think it should be strictly traditional martial arts tournaments until a certain age?
I don't know, honestly. I really do believe it depends on the kid. If they're mature enough to handle a fight situation like that, then more power to them.
I think it boils down to sparring and how good the sparring is. If they're not panicking and sparring, then
If they show the altitude in sparring, then yeah, I believe they're ready for it.
all right. Well, thank you for answering. Thank you for your opinion.
All right, thank you.